to restore Pokémon, TCG, and sports cards here on the Cardboard Alchemist podcast. And now here are your hosts, Giovanni and Sebastian.
Welcome to Cardboard Alchemist.
I wish, in fact, instead of techno, we should have had like rock and roll at the beginning of our intro.
Dubstep.
Our intro is going to be in this episode for the first time.
Oh, for real? Dude, I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
I've been busting my ass trying to get it good, looking good, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. But anyway,
it's gonna come out good.
This episode is cool because we had a couple of people ask who are getting into card restoration. At first, they're doing it for themselves, but now they're talking about like, hey, how much like what like kits should I buy if I want to do a whole bunch of other people's cards? I'm getting questions like that. And it's cool. It's like this guy who's in high school. Like it's just a kid who is curious about this and can kind of do something for some scratch. Then there's like diehards like you, me, Haley, whatever. Some of them I know Haley is doing this full time.
Oh, yeah.
Which, yeah, hats off to her. I know one day we'll be there. But as far as getting into it and starting, it can be super overwhelming.
Yeah. Like, how did you start? I mean, were you very overwhelmed when you started?
Well, when I started, I wasn't fixing other people's stuff. In fact,
you're just practicing and everything and just started like doing the foundations.
Had no idea that was even a thing until people started asking me to fix their stuff. Right.
Oh, wow.
The thought didn't even cross my mind of like, hey, I can make money fixing other people's cards. It merely was just from, hey, my cards are not getting grades back. So this is my childhood binder right here.
Dude, that's sick. I wish I had mine.
Yeah, I added this part. So this is that's it after the fact. But see these Japanese sticker cards?
Yeah. Dude, that's cool, man.
These are actually the backs I taped.
Way.
I peeled them and then
I'm
taped
like, I was seeing that. I'm like, those don't look like stickers.
Yeah, no. So I peeled the front, put that, and then taped the back of it. But yeah, unfortunately, the binder's pretty much cleaned out because I graded a ton of these cards, right? What I do have is I have my original league thing, which you can tell I didn't get too far through it, but it's really fun looking at this because every time you go and play or whatever, you slowly build up your, profile. Look, Toys R Us.
Toys R Us.
Favorite Pokemon Porygon. Look, it has nothing's changed, bro.
Nothing's changed. Dude, I remember in Toys R Us, I think there's only one in the world right now, or unless they took it down. I don't know, but I remember so much going to Toys R Us as a kid, man. I remember going over there getting Pokemon cards, Godzilla, anything that I can find, man.
Toys R Us was like Mecca if you were a kid, bro.
Yeah. No, dude, KB Toys, bro. KB Toy.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would get all my Pokemon stuff and all the figurines that I gotten back in the days. And then I gave all my son my old figurines, so he has those in his room and he plays with them. And I'm just like, nice. He's gonna get into the same things I got into.
Yeah, I had like those Tommy figures, right? Those little ones that came inside the Pokeball or whatever. Is that what you're talking about? Those are sick. Yeah,
those
I got a ton of those.
I had a Groudon. I don't know what happened to it, but I remember getting those Pokeballs with the figurines, with the Trico, the Torchic, the Bulbasaur, the Squirtle. And then when the Burger King stuff come out, did you ever get that one? The Burger King toy, the toy with the gold card. I used to have the Charizard, man.
My mom had a full set, and like most moms, like in the Beanie Baby era, she's like, "We're gonna be rich one day with that." And of course, those things really aren't worth much more than.
I saw a PSA 10 sell for a pretty high amount.
Yeah, but the chances of you having a PSA 10 is
exactly.
Yeah, you know what was interesting though? Those gold-plated cards. I think there's ways that you can clean those with the same methods you use to clean coins.
No way.
I think it requires like acid or something serious, but there is sometimes like this white, cloudy look on those cards that probably can be cleaned. But I'm curious how PSA grades a 10 on those compared to like a traditional card, because they're like thick,
Very thick. I know the slabs are a little bit more thicker if I was seeing it, but dude, that's cool, man. That you have your original binder.
Yeah, and like there's just like a couple of other things in here. What's funny is like the old card list and the advanced rule book. But it's funny, I was looking at this just now. I just recognized this, that I have stamps. I supposedly completed all of it. I only played the card game probably a handful of times. So I now I remember what happened, because you can see I don't have all the time machines. I either stole the stamp or just told the person, hey, can you stamp all of this for me? So I had all the badges.
But anyway, like, hey, just do it. I'll give you $1 for doing it.
my biggest coveted thing is this right here. So 1998, there was a Pokemon
The year
tour,
I was born.
The year that Pokemon came out, in the US anyway.
Yeah.
And Nintendo of America had this whole thing across all of the malls in America. And you could play the Game Boy game, you would fight with other people, and you could battle people who worked at Nintendo. And additionally, they had like a section for the card game as well, where you could battle each other. Well, the Game Boy game I was way more into, but they had this Pikachu giant, like Pikachu jumbo card, but like huge one that you could stand in front of and get your picture taken. And so I actually found a floppy drive.
Oh, it's a floppy drive. I'm like, no way, we're gonna see the photo right now.
I will actually overlay the photo on the video.
Damn, I haven't seen a floppy disk in a very long time.
I looked at the metadata on this picture, 1998, dude. Yeah, insane.
Wow.
But that, and like at the event, you could get a Mew, which was that was the only way you could get Mew on Red and Blue, and they transferred one to me. And then what they would do is they would give you the certificate for like authenticity of your Mew or whatever.
That's cool. I think the only things I've ever done, because I've never done tournaments, I've never gone to any of those, because I never really like seen those over there where I where I live. So the only things I've ever done is like when GameStop would have those events, like where you get. I know I was there in the Diamond and Pearl when they gave out Deoxys, Celebi, and some other ones too back in the days. And also the only thing I do have in childhood that my game right now that is complete in box, it's opened, but let me get it real quick.
Hell yeah. I think I've seen this before. I have Red and Blue, or I have Blue, which was my choice, but not sealed.
So I have this.
Jeez, the actual original box too.
Original box, everything's inside.
Sheesh.
I played the game. I finished it, and then I hacked it.
Hell yeah!
So I have all every Pokemon shiny. That was my thing back in the days, and then stealing other trainers' Pokemons too.
Yeah, like Game Shark it or whatever.
Yeah, I actually replayed it.
Hell yeah. That's cool. Yeah, with emulators nowadays, you can like set the play speed, which is how I have a Retroid here, like which Retroid's kind of like a, Android that you can put emulators on, and I have Red and Blue and all the old ones. But what's cool is you can set the emulation speed to like 5 times as fast, so you're running around
walk through
fast.
It. Yeah,
yeah. Because I played the original Red and Blue, and oh my god, it's like slow.
So it's forever. Yeah. I can imagine.
But speeding it up. But anyway, I ended up getting all the way to the top. Like I was killing everybody, and because I had Blue and I had Mewtwo, all of them at 99, and I was crushing it. But it kept dying at the very end, because what you would do is it would be like 100 kids. They would all fight each other. Then it'd be half of those. Then they keep fighting until there's one person left.
Left.
I got down to the one person left multiple times because they kept doing this. And then that one person left got to go fight the people who worked at Nintendo. And they had a Pokemon named Grep, who was like this beefed up Mewtwo, because Mewtwo was one of the only Pokemon that would level past 99.
Yeah.
And I kept dying because they had this freaking steroided out Mewtwo, and they were like, here, let me just, they gave it to me. So they actually like pulled the cord and like duplicated the Pokemon on mine.
Dude,
then I finally beat them. And once I beat them, which by the way, Substitute and Fisher, I remember those 2 moves for Mewtwo was like the shit,
Oh,
Which by the
substitute is like when like basically like what is substitute? Like he basically like switches, and then there's like a little doll, right? And it just takes its
yeah,
place.
and the
Yeah,
doll takes the damage, not your Pokemon,
yeah,
which is huge, right? Like but um yeah, I finally beat him, and then the guy who worked at Nintendo said, "Here, man, you can have one of these," and he handed me a sealed E3 Red Cheeks Pikachu, which now is worth
nice.
like $2,000 or whatever.
Raw.
Insane. I graded
Yeah.
it was a 9 because it's got one white dot on the back corner. But
Do you
anyway,
still have it, or did you sell
I
it?
do. No, I still have
Oh,
it. That
hell
one's not
yeah,
going anywhere.
hell yeah.
Um, so uh, fast forward, I have kids, I grow up, and then Pokemon's huge. COVID, right? COVID hits and
Yeah, COVID. The
Logan
Pokemon
Paul
blows up.
shit and all
It all.
that.
I think it all started with Logan Paul, and then after that, I think all these other PokeTubers started like manipulating the market and everything.
Yeah, because if you looked at prices before all that happened, I mean,
I think you can get a first edition Charizard back then, like for maybe like $200. I think before COVID, or maybe even less. I mean, I could be wrong, but I know
maybe
it
that
was
might even be
cheaper.
low, but yeah, it's nowhere near the prices that it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But I wouldn't be
insane.
surprised if you could have got one for 500
I
or
think for
something like
500. I
that.
think it was like around
Yeah.
500. But yeah, prices. I wish I would have gotten put into like more into Pokemon back. I mean, I was into it, but and then I stopped because I grew up. I went to high school. I was doing other things, and then Pokemon wasn't
Yeah.
even in my mind until like all this stuff, COVID stuff happened. I'm like, crap, I should have bought some cards before.
Yeah, I played the same shoulda coulda woulda game. In fact, when Bitcoin hit and the '08 crash happened,
Mm.
I made a ton of money off of shorting bank stocks, and this
Oh wow.
crazy kid came over to my house because we had like a party house, and he came over and he was like, "Have you heard of this thing called Bitcoin?" He helped me. This was like a month after Bitcoin came out. He helped me set up the miner. And I know for a fact I got Bitcoin on that machine. Of course, the machine's gone. I thought it was worthless and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the shoulda, coulda, woulda game you can't play. So
Yeah, of
we're in
course,
today,
yeah.
whatever. But anyway, I got my childhood binder. I had a bunch of good cards: Shadowless Charizard, first edition Zapdos, first edition Ninetales from base set, a bunch of other decent cards. Sent them off to PSA. I was getting back 7s, 6s, and they were clean cards. Like my dad collected sports cards, and I always kept them really solid. So that's
Yeah.
when I noticed this one has an indent, lifted edge, and started like figuring out like why did this get so low and talking to people. And that's when I started cracking them, and I found a little bit of content out there. I think it was Kurt, or it may have been Rocket Collect. I can't remember who came first. I think it was Kurt.
Yeah.
But and even then, I don't think he was really doing Pokemon per se. It might have just been him doing
Then-
like sports cards.
Yeah, I think if you go back to all the videos, I think back to the beginning, it was nothing but sports cards.
Yeah.
And then I think later, I think he only has a very few like of like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon.
Right. And so there was this magic tool, right? And so that's where I was like, this is cool. And then of course the card spray, right?
Yeah.
Which we'll eventually do an episode about card sprays because there's a whole bunch of different card sprays I've been kind of like cooking up
Testing
myself,
out,
working
yeah.
on, testing. But anyway, the card spray and the pen tool here were the most interesting tools to me in the beginning. So I'm curious for you, because that was probably 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you kind of get in with all this, or was the bone tool and already known?
And no, so I got into it when it was just that Kurt's card tool and and that I later on I found that the bone tool out because of you. Because I didn't see Rocket Collect, because that's how I started. I started because I was bored and I was like, you know what, I want to see if like if I can, because with my first submission, I didn't even know there was even kits. I didn't know there was kits. I didn't know there was ways to clean your cards. I thought you just send them and you just get the grade you get. So when I was looking at stuff, I know there's like I was looking all over, and then I saw I searched it up in Google how to clean Pokemon cards. There's a lot of different things. There's Windex, which I'm the one that went to and never do that. Don't ever use Windex for your cards. I've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I mean, none of the cards came back bad grades. They came back like 8s, and I think I only had 1 7, but everything was 8s and 9s, which is not bad. 1 9.5. But the one that I used the Windex the most got a 7, which was a Radiant Charizard. So yeah, that's how I learned. But it did like shined up the card pretty good. It cleaned it up, but it did rub off paint off the card because when I wiped it down the microfiber cloth, that's when I saw a little bit of pink on the red from the paint. I'm like, crap, I shouldn't have done that. But then later on, I got the cards. I'm like, okay, I sold them all. And I'm like, okay, let me see if there's any other ways that people clean them. You know, that's when I got more and more cards and everything. That's when I came across Kurt's Card Care. So I started watching his videos and I'm like, okay. So I started learning. I was real fascinated because when you watch people like clean cards, it's very like kind of ASMR-y a little bit. But when you watch it, it was just very interesting of how they were doing it and how when they'll get it, clean it, and then grade it. And when it got the grade it got, especially even if it was a higher grade, that's what hooked you. And, you know, that's why I got it. I'm going to start doing this. So I purchased my first kit 2 years ago. And, talked to Kurt, asked him a lot of questions. He's a very cool guy. He answered all my questions. He was very patient with me and everything. So I had to learn. So I learned on basic cards, So I was learning around like maybe, let's say like a year or two, like on base. Like I wrecked a lot of my cards. And then like after that year ended, that's when I felt more comfortable doing like higher end cards. So this is where this card comes along. This card is from my childhood that I pulled.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Shining Double Hollow Gyarados, which is one of my grails that I have. It's clean. Has 2 swirls.
2?
And it has 2 swirls on each end. One over here and one over here.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, and I love it, man. This is like, I didn't even know it was a double hollow until like I saw the sparkles on all over the card after like shining it in the light.
Yeah.
I thought I just had a regular one, but I think these go for what, like maybe like $900 to $1,000 raw. If it's a double hollow,
is it
it's
first
unlimited
edition or not?
No, it's unlimited.
After you grade it, that looks clean. Huh?
Yeah, it's very
8?
clean. Look at the back.
Is that like an 8? You think?
I believe it will be an 8.
Probably a couple thousand.
Yeah, maybe I think I saw an 8 for 1,200, 1,003.
Yeah,
but
I sold the entire collection of double hollow. So it was like, I think PSA recognizes 6 or 7 cards from Neo with the double hollow error because they don't do all of them. It's only the ones where hollow's not supposed to be there or whatever.
Yeah.
But I sold, and this was a while ago. This was a year or something ago. I sold it for $2,800 and it had a PSA 8 in it. And I think I sandbagged the price. I think I could have got more because I got like an offer the next day for like $2,800, and I was just like, I'll take it,
Yeah, of course.
because I was making out. But that card you got to keep, man. That's another thing I learned is
I'm gonna keep this one because it's one of my girls.
it's your childhood. It's your memories,
Yeah, this one, look, you can even tell it's a double hollow because on the double hollow, the cloud is not supposed to have hollow at all.
Yeah,
And then look at that.
yeah, that's insane. Yeah, there's a couple of double hollows I have in this stack right here. There's like
You still have all the Shining Garys that you showed me, or did you? Or that's the ones that you sell? Because remember, you had a whole bunch of them that you showed me.
I still got a bunch, yeah. And then there's the Houndoom. There's supposed to be no hollow down here at the bottom. This one's got a swirl where it's supposed to be nothing.
Yeah.
Then the shiny Magikarp, which
I'm trying to get that one, man. I'm trying to get that one and a double hollow so I can have the complete set on this one. So that's why I sold the other one. Or actually, that's why I traded the other one because I got the Gold Star Jolteon. Oh, dude, that
not
was
as cool
sick.
as yours though. I don't have.
No, but yours has more
swirls.
shine. Mine has yours has. I'll try to send you the swirls, but they're like half swirls. But you can still kind of see them if you shine them on both of the corners.
I heard on double hollows, the first edition double hollows are a lot harder to find. I heard.
Yeah, they're very hard to find, man.
Because from my understanding, what happened is that there's like this opaque layer that they printed on top to block the hollow in those parts, and so when that runs out on the printer, then this starts to show through. Mm-hmm. So for first edition, they probably had those printers locked, stocked, and barreled with a bunch of ink. So I think it was towards the first edition end of the first edition print run where it started to run out. But anyway. So I got like a handful of child cards, but I sold a ton of my childhood cards too, and it's kind of like, but it kind of helped me fund where I'm at now, right?
Yeah.
Probably the 3-4 years ago when I started doing all this. Again, it started with this tool, the spray, and the polish, and making mistakes, like we talked about in the
Yeah.
last episode, that first edition Ninetales, and adding a ton of whitening by like rubbing the corners with the card spray and stuff. It's things like that unless you learn from somebody, you're gonna learn the hard way, right?
Yeah.
So-
It's all trial and error. So that's what I was doing with this one. All I did was just humidor it because back then I didn't know about 80%, 90%. I just kept it all at 70, 75. It's playing it
Yeah.
safe. So I just left it there for like 40, 30 minutes because that's what I would see Rocket Collect. Because after Kurtz, I started seeing Rocket Collects doing it. So I got the humidor he got, or I got a different one. I started getting the plates that he got, the clamps. So I would do the same thing, and this one came out pretty good. I shined it with the Kurtz with polish and everything, and it came out nice. Like no scratches whatsoever. It looks really good. So this one I kept. I was planning on sending it to grade, but at the same time, like I'm just gonna keep it ungraded because in my mind I just feel like what if it comes back a bad grade? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I've only graded a couple and kept them. Most of the ones I graded, I sold. Like for example, the most expensive childhood card I had was the Shadowless Charizard. I still have it raw, and reason being is because I'm not selling it. I'm giving it to my kids 30, 40, whenever I'm dead, right? Like years from now. So whether it's raw or it's graded, in my opinion, doesn't matter too much. Now, probably better graded, like long term, because it's probably going to withstand the elements better. Well, it's more on the lines if somebody handles it, at least they're handling the slab and not like a top loader and it falling out or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense there.
It's not like a requirement. I would say just keep it raw. Throw it in like a team bag or whatever so it doesn't just fly out one day.
Same thing as this one. That's why I'm keeping all these in top loaders. Now I'm going to be showing my collection.
Nice.
So
you got the Jolteon in there now.
Yeah, I got the Jolteon, and now I'm just going to be... Got everything in it. This is the Espeon that I'm going to be posting later on.
Hell
that
yeah.
I fixed up. So yeah, this is all the ones. And then this one I'm going to keep... I'm probably debating on either grading this or keeping it raw.
I know. I still got to fix mine that I got. But getting back to the topic of like starting your own.
Yeah.
No, I want to do a whole episode on like our collections and stuff because in fact, look, I just picked up both boxes of Pokemon Center Evolving Skies.
Oh, dude, those are expensive. How much did you pay for that?
$14.50. Yeah.
For how much? One or two?
For both, yeah. So it came out to what, like $725 each. But I'm super bullish about, even though Evolving Skies has gone insane, I still think it has room. So
it's gonna keep on growing. I know. I mean, of course, the chase card, the Moonbrown, which I'm just still trying to chase, but it's so hard to get.
Don't chase it. Just buy it. That's
the same thing with Magic. Instead of just chasing it, just buy the singles. That's what I go for.
Yeah. That'd be a grail card for me to work on though, is a Black Lotus. I still want to get a hold of one day. But anyway, so I'm getting people that are hitting me up. Hey, I want to start my own card restoration thing. Where do they start? So first of all, you have to establish yourself. And so what I would say is fix your own stuff first. Don't jump into this fixing
always
other
do that.
people's stuff. Like get a hang of this stuff first.
Yeah, because you don't want to mess up anybody's cards. And if that happens, then you're reliable for that.
Yeah. To this day, every time I work on somebody's card, I am way more nervous than my own cards.
Yeah, of course.
Because I want to do a good job. Right? Of
course, yeah. You're a perfectionist, and I know you like how you told me you're a perfectionist. You take time. You take a long time on people's cards, and I'm the same way, No, we don't like, I mean, it's like how I told Josh, because of course we get messages of people saying like, hey, like the time frame and everything, and when am I going to get them back? But always keep it respectful. Just be like, hey, it just takes time. It just really depends on the damage of the card. And also since, me and Josh are perfectionists, we just want to keep the cards looking perfect before we send them to you guys.
And replicate the damage, right?
Yeah.
So one of the most important things is like practice. Shout out Gerald, who I had to talk to for like an hour because he bought a flattening kit and was confused about how to use it, but homeboy was like, man, I messed up a card, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you practicing first? He's like, nah, I just jumped right into it. I'm like, dude, that's your mistake.
Don't do that.
So customer sent this to me, right?
Oh, the
And
Elsa.
the very first thing I said is, I've never worked on Lorcana. You have to send some practice cards first, right? So this card right here, I basically beat to all hell. It's got like, I created indents because this card had indents on the back. And so I created the same indents on this. I pretty much, on this one here, I just used the bone folder, aka Giovanni's card tool. By the way, I'm sick and tired of people taking my stuff and renaming it and calling it their own. I'll leave it at that. But
Yeah, we already know.
I will say about this tool, in 100% transparency, Salvo showed this first. I saw Salvo using this first. By no means is this my invention. Now the blotter paper, on the other hand, I brought that to the community. All right, so just let's level that. But anyway, this card here had a bunch of indents. Practice, right? Jumping into things head first, trying it on your frickin', and then you mess it up. Terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. Yeah, there's nothing worse.
Especially if it's a very expensive card that you're going to be working on. One time I did get a message saying like, "Hey man, I'm working on people's cards. I got a hair indent on the card," because he was drying it and he had it on the press, and then once he opened it the next day or 2 days later, he noticed that one of his hairs was on the card, and it created a huge line indent.
Not a hair, but I've had like specks of dust or plastic or some bullshit.
I hate that. It happens to me too, but
I always wipe them now, like, or whatever. But
dude, you know what works? I've been doing your method now. Instead of using like actual penny sleeves, I use the enlarged ones. I just cut it and do flat. But then I also use this too, and I recommend people getting it to clean your presses. Your presses and your sleeves and your cards as well, so there won't be any dust on it at all, and it works 100%.
Or like keyboard spray might even work. But you know,
that too.
So by the way, I just submitted to Tag and AGS for the first time.
Ooh.
And I forgot which one it was, but one of them said, "Do you want us to offer our deionizing service or something like that?" And so I started reading into it. Yeah, so I think I still have the screenshot, but basically they run this anti-static stuff through it. So like it doesn't have like static electricity, you know how like dust kind of like, So somehow on your card, they deionize it so it doesn't like suck dust to it or whatever.
What? That's crazy. That'll probably be like taggers. No, it'll probably, honestly, I think that's AGS.
It might be AGS. I don't know. I have the screenshot somewhere. I'll overlay it if I find it.
Dude, I never even knew about that. That's insane.
Bro, both of them had wipe down services. Both Tag and AGS said, "Do you want us to wipe your card?"
You know where PSA is getting their ideas from. Now we know.
Yeah. So anyway, like as
hypocrites.
as far as starting, it can be overwhelming, right? You've got tons and tons of products.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell to choose. I would suggest stick with either, of course, Giovanni stuff or Kurt's stuff. Those are both solid. Stay away from the TikTok shop and the eBay sellers like this stuff. Like I bought this stuff. There's no label on it. I don't know what the hell this is. This ain't FDA approved, I can tell you that.
That looks like just Miracle Card Care. Like they just literally just took off the sticker and just sold it as their own.
I have no idea. It's not the same exact container. I can tell, but yeah. Anyway, so be careful. Test the products first. Like, for example, all of these different card sprays, I can tell are different things. Some of them have Castile soap in them. I can tell because as I'm wiping, bubbles like soap bubbles are coming up. So you gotta test all these products first. Yeah. But anyway, once you get the hang of it, then what you need to start doing, I feel like, is having an attention to detail for like finding damage, knowing what can be fixed and what can't be fixed, right?
And also being honest with your clients too, saying like, of course, some clients are chasing the 10. Have you gotten a lot of people who've been like,
I know it's a 10.
I know it's a 10, and then there's like 4 white spots and all that stuff, and we're just like, honestly, man, it's not gonna get a 10. And so, what do you think it's gonna get? And then you have to give them your range because we're not graders, but we kind of know more or less what the card might get depending on the condition of the card.
Yeah, totally. So That's a part of it. So then eventually you get into the tools like, figuring out centering, which there are centering tools that you can get out there. This is actually not a centering tool. That's a different tool I'll talk about later in the Patreon. But this one's super cool. This is basically, this is on my store, but it's to measure like the actual
Nice.
like left, right, top, bottom
Yeah.
border, and then I have a calculator on my website where you can figure out the exact percentage. Because I talked to a ex-grader at a large company, you can guess who, wink wink, they get these issued to them at the desk. So I had to pick one up because I want to get in the mind of a grader, right?
Yeah.
So that really helped me out to start like thinking like a grader. And again, okay, on the other side as a card restorator, what can I do not to trick the grader, by the way? The things we do are to improve and not deceive.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not coloring, we're not trimming. However, indents, bends, creases, dirt, things that can be replaced and not compromise the integrity of the card are up for game, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, of course, same. That's the way I think too.
So this, for example, this was a 5 or 6, I can't remember, and it had a couple of indents right here, right? So a lot of flattening, and I'll talk a lot about it more in the Patreon. But with those pin dot indents, a lot of people have been asking me, you just got to get good with this tool. This tool and your flattening kit. The heat pen is for extreme measures. You've tried this, it doesn't work, then you're resorting to the heat pen, right?
Yeah.
So we'll dive into more, I would say, like business and financials of how to start your own card restoration business in the Patreon. But as far as for the YouTube folks or the casual people looking to kind of restore, the number one thing is just be transparent and be honest about what you can and can't do. I've seen people getting into this. The two bad things I've seen is one, people, I won't say who, but I have a suspicion it's happening, that they're taking people's cards. I think that's happening. I think there's one person out there who popped up recently that I believe is a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will.
Yeah.
So be careful who you send your cards to, right?
Yeah.
They need to be reputable. And then the other one is charging people an arm and a leg and then either making it worse or not fixing the damage you promised to fix. Okay. Yeah. Every time I take a card, and I don't know about you, Sebastian, but I always say I'll try my best. I never make promises.
Yeah, I always say I try my best too, and I tell them too, like, yeah, we can do that. Like I tell them, like, especially if it's like we know that it's an easy fix and not like gonna be like excruciating, like trying to take off like hardcore creases or like even whitening. Like even when I see whitening, a lot of people even ask me, and they probably ask you too, hey, can you fix this? And they just show you just nothing but whitening. You're just like, I just tell them, sorry, man. Everything else I can do, but whitening it can't be fixed. That the paint cannot magically come back. But I saw you guys' video of painting card. I'm like, we don't do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, one thing I'm interested in, and again, it's to expose what's happening, not perform this as an actual art, is rebacking. So I'm going to be speaking with a gentleman soon who knows how to do it. They don't do it for grading. They do it for binder copies and things like that, apparently. But I'm curious about the process that people are doing this stuff in. I suspect that long-term this isn't good for a card, that whatever is being used as an adhesive could come apart. But we'll be sure to drop an episode about that too. But again, these methods aren't, hey, go do this and go grade the card. This is like,
especially right now in this society.
Personal copy, like, yeah.
Especially, I know right now Pokemon's hot. A lot of people want to make money off of it. A lot of people want to flip real quick, but you guys got to just take it slow, take it step by step.
Yeah, just chill. All right, it's a marathon, not a race. All right, so
it's gonna take a while, but you'll end up getting there.
All right, we're gonna talk about what to do as far as like starting a business, how to set it up, where to get clients, some more advanced tips on things like that when it comes to starting your business in the Patreon. So we'll see you there.
Later, guys.
Aloha.